To our midweek Bible study. We're glad that you're here with us tonight for our middle of the week Bible study, and thank you for joining us. Please like or comment and let us know that you're here. Thank you for being here. Before we get started, I just want to give a shout out to the Lord, to all of our volunteers at our food pantry ministry. We have been up and running for 2 weeks now. And the Lord has been good. We've been able to minister to a number of people, and I want to thank all my volunteers who have been working to make that happen. But we had an extra special blessing today. We got to help somebody find Jesus Christ. And so I want to welcome, if she's watching tonight, Miss Sherry to the family of God. We are glad that you're here. You got a whole lot more today than a bag of groceries. So it's a real blessing to be able to do that. That's why we do what we do. And so it's really awesome. So if you got your Bibles tonight, we're going to be in 2 Kings 5. 2 Kings 5. And so I want to ask you a question. You ever try to do something and you just couldn't figure it out? You know what I'm saying? You sit there and you got the directions and you just can't figure out. You don't know what's going on. And then somebody comes along and they try to offer advice to you. And you're like, yeah, that don't make sense. That's crazy. That doesn't even sound like it's going to work. And then you're like, that won't work. That don't make sense. And then the person says, it's going to work. It doesn't sound like it will, but it will work. You got to trust me on this. And so we just like, well, it doesn't make sense. Well, deep down, the skeptic within us wants to say, no, I don't think so. But there's a part of us that's like, why not? And so we try it, and lo and behold, oftentimes that bizarre and strange advice that we often get, it works. How about that? Okay? And we get shocked when it happens. Well, tonight our Bible study is about a guy who's very much in the same boat. It's a very similar scenario. And so let's take a look at 2 Kings chapter 5, verse 1, and continuing. Naaman, commander of the army for the king of Aram, was a great man in his master's sight, highly regarded because through him the Lord had given victory to Aram. The man was a brave warrior, but he had a skin disease. Aram had gone on raids and brought back from the land of Israel a young girl who served Naaman's wife. She said to her mistress, if only my master would go to the prophet who is in Samaria, he would cure him of his skin disease. And so here's the thing. We got a military commander. We got a military general, Naaman, who's, the Bible says he's very successful. The man is very strong. He's respected. The king respects him. He's got the leadership's full support, and he's got everything going for him. Except he's got one problem. He's got a skin disease, and most likely it was probably leprosy. There was no cure for this at the time. Okay. And so this was an issue. So he could still carry on his duties with the leprosy. He hadn't gotten to that stage yet, but obviously this was a concern for him. This was a problem. Okay, so we want to do something about it. Well, he had a slave girl that happened to come from the land of Israel, the northern kingdom of Israel. And this slave girl told Naaman's wife, if he would just go to this prophet, Samaria, he would heal him of his leprosy, his skin disease. You see, this girl must have been very well taken care of. And the reality is that she obviously loved this family and respected him because she cared for Naaman's health. I mean, otherwise she'd be like, I don't know, if he dies, he dies. He's sick, I don't care. But she had a concern for Naaman's health. And this obviously had to come from the result that she had a connection with this family. And so you see here, she decided to tell Naaman's wife, he just needs to go to this prophet in Samaria. He will heal him. Well, look at the next passage. So Naaman went and told his master, the king, what the girl from the land of Israel had said. Therefore the king of Aram said, go, and I will send a letter with you to the king of Israel. So he went and took with him 750 pounds of silver, 150 pounds of gold, 10 changes of clothes. he brought the letter to the king of Israel, and it read, "When this letter comes to you, note that I have sent you my servant Naaman for you to cure him of his skin disease." So here's the thing. Naaman is packing. He's got all kind of goods, and the king of Aram sends him where? To Israel, but he sends him to the king. He sends him to the king with all these goods, and the letter states, "I've sent him here to heal, for you to heal him." What? Yeah, I've sent him here so you can heal him, okay? But here's the thing. Look what the king's response was. When the king of Israel read the letter, he tore his clothes and asked, "Am I God, killing and giving life, that this man expects me to cure a man of a skin disease? Think it over and you will see he's just only trying to pick a fight with me." And so the king of Israel, see, there was the king of Israel and Aram. You know, Israel and Aram didn't really have the really great relationship. Obviously, Aram had made raids to Israel, so there wasn't a really great relationship there, okay? And so he comes to the king, Naaman does, carrying all this stuff, says, "You need to heal me." King's like, "What am I, God? I don't do that. Why would you come to me? This is a setup. You're just trying to pick a fight. You're just trying to start something." Okay? And so you see this picture here that the king's getting all upset. The Bible says he tore his clothes and he was all upset. Okay? You see, the king, Israel and Aram were on good terms, but see, here's the thing. The prophet Elisha and king of Israel, they weren't on good terms either. Matter of fact, the land of Israel was really not on good terms with Yahweh. They really were, they were doing a lot of Baal worshiping. And so the prophet Elisha was not highly respected by the leadership in Israel. Okay? And so when this happened, what happened was that Elisha said, he says, "Send him to me. He needs to know that there's a God in Israel." Okay? And so Elisha, when he got wind of the king's rant, he says, "Send Naaman to me. Just send him to me. I want him to know there's a God in Israel who cares. There's a God in Israel who has power. There's a true prophet in Israel." So what do you see? So what happened was Elisha. So what you see right here, it says, "Have him come see me, and he'll know there's a prophet in Israel." So Naaman came with his horses and chariots and stood at the door of Elisha's house. Then Elisha sent him a messenger who said, "Go wash 7 times in the Jordan, and your flesh will be restored, and you will be clean." Okay, you get this. You gotta pay attention. Now, put yourself in Naaman's shoes. Okay, first of all, you're sent with all these goods, and the first person you come into is the king of Israel, and he gets all bent out of shape, accuses you of trying to start something, tears his clothes, and he goes and has a hissy fit. Then he sends him to the prophet Elisha, and Elisha doesn't even bother coming out of the house, sends him a messenger to give the message. What was the message? Go wash Jordan River 7 times. So not only does he have to deal with a bit out of shape king, then he doesn't even get an audience with the prophet himself, and then he gets told to go wash in the dirty Jordan River. So no wonder Naaman responds the way he did. Look what he says in verse 11. Naaman got angry and left. He said, "I was telling myself, surely he's going to come out, he's going to stand, call the name of Yahweh his God. He's going to wave his hand over the spot. He's going to cure my skin disease. Aren't Arbana and Farfar, the rivers of Damascus, aren't they better than all the waters of Israel? Could I not wash in them and be clean?" So he turned and left in a rage. So if you're Naaman, guess what? You're probably upset too. King got all upset in front of your presence and accused you of something you didn't do. The prophet wouldn't even come out and talk to you. He sends a servant. And then the message is, "Go wash in the dirty Jordan." There's 3 right there. I mean, goodness. No wonder he's all upset. I'd be upset. Okay? So Naaman's like, all he was, just heal me. Why can't you just wave, just speak words of it? Why do I gotta go wash in your dirty river? Here's the thing. He wanted to be healed. That's why he's there. But he wanted to be done his way. In his river, the way he wanted to be done. Okay? So he wanted God to do something. He wanted this prophet to do something on his terms, not God's terms. Yeah. You ever ask God for help? And when he offers help, you're like, you don't like how he's helping. I mean, come on, let's all be honest here. Sometimes we're like, God, I really wish you'd do it a different way. I really wish that you do something different. I don't really like the process, and I really don't care for how you're answering my prayer, so to speak. We want God to do something different. You, God, I want you, I need you to do this, but I want you to do it this way or that way. Or, there's got to be a better way. Surely there's a better way. You see, we're asking God for advice and we're asking God for help, and then yet we're still trying to tell God how to do it. Naaman was like that, and you and I are like that too sometimes, aren't we? We want God to come through for us, but we've got a little six outline plan that says, God, I got a plan. I want you to, if you can just execute my plan, we'll be good. See, God doesn't operate like that. God's got his own plan. He doesn't need my help. He doesn't need your help. He's got it all by himself. Okay? And so the thing is that this advice that he gets is to go wash in the Jordan 7 times in the dirty river. Okay? 7 times. And you and I would be the same way. Really? I got to go wash in that nasty river? You'd probably be a little upset too. Okay? The Jordan River is not known for its crystal clear water. And so he's wanting God to do things on his terms. And a lot of us get the same way. We're like, God, I want you to do things, but I want you to do them my way. Thankfully, Naaman had somebody in his entourage, somebody who come up and give him what I like to call the Jethro Gibbs slap, back of the head, and said, Naaman, if he'd asked you to do something hard or something grand, you'd have done it, right? Yeah, it says so right here. Yep, it says it in verse 13. The prophet asked you to do some great thing. Would you have done it? How much more? When he tells you go wash me clean. So basically, hey, Naaman, how about just listening to this simple request and just go do it? How hard is this? Jordan's not that far. Just go do it. It's not that big a deal. What's the harm? Yeah, it sounds weird. Yeah, it's probably not ideal, but how about a little trust here? So thankfully, Naaman had somebody in his entourage who cared enough. So what happened? Well, we know what happened. It says he did. He went down in verse 14, went down and dipped himself in the Jordan River 7 times according to the command of the man of God, Elisha. Then his skin was restored and became the skin of a small boy, and he was clean. Can you imagine him going into the water 6 times? He's dipping. When he gets to number, do you think maybe he's like, this is not happening. This is not getting any better. By the 5th and 6th time, I'm not getting any better. This is still bad. It would have been easy for him to stop and quit. Really? Are you kidding me? I can't believe I'm doing this. But on the 7th time, because he listened and because he paid attention to that command of Elisha, he came out of that water, and it says the skin was like that of a young boy. He had really young skin. You and I would love to have that, right? We probably would like to have that right now. Okay? And so he followed through. He listens to his servant. He gets healed. And then he shows up to thank Elisha with gratitude. Look what it says. Verse 15, and Nathan and this whole entourage, this whole company, comes back to the man of God, Elisha, stood before him and declared, I know there's no God in the whole world except in Israel. So he comes back and he's standing before Elisha this time. He says, I know there ain't no other God. There ain't no God at all except your God, the one who healed me. Okay, you see that? And he admits that to the prophet himself. And he even shows a desire here and later in this passage to worship God. This is amazing. You've heard the phrase, God works in mysterious ways. Where does that come from? Well, it's the phrase basically it helps us work in mysterious ways. We don't see where God's going with this. When God does something, we're like, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing. Maybe I like what he's doing. But that's the mystery of God. God knows more than we do. He sees more than we do. He understands more than we do. Naaman didn't understand that right away. But after that 7th dip, you can bet he got a full picture of what God was doing. You see, he understood that God works in mysterious ways, and he used that nasty Jordan River to bring about a miracle. And it came about because he was obedient. He was obedient to what God told him to do. So when we call out to God for help, we got to start trusting him in what he tells us. What may seem to be bizarre, strange, or even weird, we're like, yeah, I ain't doing that. To God, God's like, yeah, I know. It sounds strange. I know. It don't make any sense. To like, we're all in this point when it comes like that, we're all like Vulcans. It's not logical. It's not logical. It don't make any sense at all. But you know what? Sometimes what God does is not logical. But it's God working. See, God works out, he works beyond our frame of understanding. And because of that, that's where faith comes in. That's where that trust comes in, okay? So we got to trust God, but we got to trust his ways. Even when we don't understand it, even when we don't like it. Naaman left a healed man. But you know what? He had more than his baby skin. He left with a greater appreciation of who Yahweh was and is. And he also left a person that desired to worship the one true God. He left with a whole lot more than with clean skin. He left with a fresh perspective on his Creator. Today, I want you to understand that we know God is real, and he might be working in your life in ways you don't understand, and you might be having some of those mysterious ways moments right now. But you know what? It's all good. It's all good. So if God's doing one of those things in your life where it's bizarre, mysterious, you don't know. But God's at work, hang on. Trust him. Trust his ways. I think there's a song that even talks about that. Trust God, trust his ways. Because when we do, that's where our faith comes in, and we begin to understand that God's at work. It's like a sign, a construction sign, God at work. Okay? So what I want you to do with this is that I want you to trust God even when it doesn't make sense. Even when you don't understand. Because that, my friends, is a picture of true faith. When we do and obey, even what we don't get right away, we still do it. That's what we need to be doing. Hard? Yeah. I'm not going to lie to you. It's hard, but you got to do it. I got to do it. You see, that's where our faith comes in. And we see God at work. It's just we got to stand back and just watch him. God works in mysterious ways. And buddy, we see this every day. Can you trust him? Will you trust him? Will you trust his ways even when you don't get it? I hope so. I'm going to pray for you in that way. Father God, I want to pray for everyone watching and listening. Father, there might be some in our audience that are going through some bizarre, weird stuff. Father, maybe you're at work in their life and they don't understand. They may not even like it. But Father, you're at work nonetheless. So Father, I pray like Naaman, Father, that they would still follow through and be obedient with whatever you're telling them to do. Father, you may not be asking them to dip in a dirty river. Father, maybe you're asking them to do something else. Father, I pray that you help them to be obedient, no matter how illogical it sounds. Father God, I pray that you'd help every person, Lord, to understand that your ways are not our ways. And that once we begin to understand that, well, Father, that's when the beginning of wisdom comes in. Father, we'll begin to trust you even more and more. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you for joining us today. I'm glad that you're here. And we want to let you know that if you need prayer, please comment and send us a prayer request, or you can email us at harboroaksprayerline@gmail.com, harboroaksprayerline@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to pray for you. And so give us that opportunity to do that for you. We're glad you're here. And we look forward to this coming Sunday. Hopefully, everything will work a whole lot better than last Sunday, technologically speaking. But it's all in God's hands, right? So thank you for joining us. And looking forward to seeing you again. God bless. Have a pleasant day.